Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the greatest time of the day. From the center of the universe, New York City, it's the main event you've been waiting for. It's time to go in the cage with Cyclone.
And we are back in this heat, this humidity, this monsoon, and I'm not talking about a gorilla monsoon out there. I can't wait till the fall. I can't wait till the winter. And as you guys can see, no stickers, brand spanking new computer, because my computer done dropped dead last week. So hopefully by next week I'll have some bright shiny stickers on this thing. Just to let you guys know on a side note, because we got so much stuff to talk about, especially boxing. It's basically all boxing this week. If you guys are in the market for a new house, you might consider purchasing this place. Sugar Ray Leonard is putting up his Pacific Palisades house for $52 million. It's 2 acres. It's 16,700 square feet, 7 bedrooms. I don't know why you'd need more than 1 bedroom, but there's 7 in there. There's a 2-story guest house. It has a pool, a putting green, a tennis court. So, if you got $52 million laying around ready to burn, give it a purchase. As I just have to do this really fast. Okie dokie. So, like I said, we have some MMA stuff, and a breaking news story a little bit later on. But it's so much boxing. We're going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly of boxing. Guys, I need you to really, seriously, pretty freaking please. Today, I need you all to share this show. Okay? I want you guys to check out CycloneComedy.com and Psyche Prods on Facebook, because you can not only enter a raffle to win something from the raffle on this show, but this week coming up. Yeah. The next UFC pay-per-view. There is going to be a huge prize I'm giving away. So, like Psyche Prods on Facebook, follow it, make your picks on, I'm going to put up my picks on Thursday night, early Friday morning before the ceremony, the official weigh-ins. I don't think anybody on this card is going to miss weight. And yeah, whoever gets the best record at the end of the night that beats me wins. That's cool. It's going to be a huge prize. Seriously, it's going to be something that all of you out there are going to want. So please, just like the page, share the video, please. And, of course, in this heat and humidity that we're having, the best thing you can do is wear a t-shirt from effectiveaggression.com. And we're going to get into the good and the bad and the ugly of boxing right after this.
This is Frank Edgar.
This is the Barbarian Tim Bosch.
I'm World Series of Fighting undefeated lightweight champion Justin Gaethje.
MMA legend, UFC Hall of Famer, Iceman. Check it out. If you got the guts, step in the cage with Cyclone.
Okie dokie, we is back. Now look, before we get into the good and the bad of boxing, we got to bring up the ugly, because things just happened this week that just show you exactly what it's like for these guys who put their bodies on the line, risking death every time they get into the ring. There have been 2 cases where fighters have been rushed to the hospitals due to brain swelling recently. And then, this week alone, there were 2 more cases, and both of these cases are not ending up good. They are both, fighters are in really bad shape. First, it was the Battle of David Allen and David Price. And look, boxers sometimes just don't have it. Sometimes they quit. Things can be off with a boxer. Between the 10th and 11th rounds in that fight, David Allen quit on his stool. And he did so because he was being beaten by such a better guy. And to say that about David Price is odd, because David Price, much like the baseball pitcher David Price, has a really lousy gas tank. This time, boom, David Price brought his A game. He was landing right jabs solid throughout, the first 10 rounds. And, it falls down to where hello, Brandon Koo, for the first time in a long time. Welcome back, Mr. Koo. Mr. Cuckoo Bird. Hopefully, well, obviously you're on, so that means you have power. Hope, like you didn't lose too much power, because Canarsie had a massive blackout yesterday, and not every part still has power. Anyways, leaving the ring, going to the back, David Allen collapsed. He was rushed to the hospital, and he has massive brain swelling. They did some surgery on him. And as far as the second one was even worse this weekend. Maxim Dadashev was rushed to the hospital after his 11th. 2 thumbs up for you, Brandon, in Coney, my home away from home. I love Coney Island. It's the most peaceful place in Brooklyn, as far as I'm concerned. But Subriel Mateus, who is now, by the way, 14-0, 14 knockouts, which is good for him, bad for Maxim, because here's the deal. Maxim was outstruck in this fight 319 to 157. And about 75% of those were significant strikes. When the numbers are that lopsided, only bad can happen. And sure enough, James Buddy McGirt, the great coach, the great former fighter, the Hall of Famer James Buddy McGirt, who was Maxim's coach, begged Maxim to let the fight be stopped. Sure enough, it was stopped. Maxim collapsed after the fight. 2 hours surgery for a subdural hematoma. I'm just happy I said that properly. And he had a piece of his skull removed. Both guys, Maxim and David Allen, are still in critical condition as of this very moment. Guys that put themselves, their lives on the line need to be given more respect than they're given. They need to be given more props than what they're given. I would love to see all combat sports, and this is where MMA unions fail. If MMA fighters teamed up with boxers and teamed up with pro wrestlers to combine all three sports into a combat sports union, that's the only way it would properly work. Because these guys, like I said, their lives can go like that. And it seems more and more in boxing, guys are getting seriously hurt. And it's something that shouldn't be, happening. I don't. Look, I've talked to Stitch Duran about it. What would happen if they made fighters wear headgear, and he said that, and others have said, not just him, have told me you can actually damage your brain more wearing headgear than without. I don't see how that is, but they're more in the know than I am. Something has to be done. You don't want to see guys become vegetables while they're still young, and even old for that matter. Now for the big, obviously, Manny Pacquiao becoming the new WB. Yeah, the new WBA. Sorry about that. I brain farted. Manny, the 40-year-old new WBA welterweight champ. Look, here's the deal. Manny Pacquiao has found the fountain of youth. I don't know if you want to say, things are going into his system. That is Paulie Malignaggi's take, that Manny is on the juice, as we say. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, what frustrated Keith Thurman was getting dropped in the first round, and the fact that Manny's power, Manny's speed, Manny's precision was so on point. It just swarmed Keith. For the record, I scored the fight 116 to 111. Not as close as everybody else did, but I can see where they say it was even closer than the way I scored it. It was a high-speed chess match. Okay, where as far as I'm concerned, Manny took the first 6 rounds. Slowed down a little bit. Keith caught his second wind. Then in the 10th, Manny hits Keith with that body shot that just right to the solar plexus, has him hunched over. Okay. And from that point on, momentum just swung 180 degrees back the other way. So what can you say about Manny Pacquiao? Manny is proving that just like the John Elways, the Ray Borks, the Gretzkys, the George Foremans, all the guys in their 40s still have some magic left. Now, does that magic include taking on a Terrence Crawford or an Errol Spence? I doubt it. I think those young guns would seriously hurt Manny. Now, Manny has a lot on his plate. Obviously, he's senator from the Philippines. He has a lot of political stuff he has to take care of. So, look, he said he's not fighting anymore in 2019, which makes sense. There's 5 months left in the year. Doesn't really need it. What should happen? And I say should because, oh my God, it's Gabe freaking Ferrari. Holy smokes. Hello, Gabe. It's about time you join us. Thank you. Now do me a favor, Gabe. Click share. Thank you. Ahead of time. And you too, Koo. Share the video. Now look. What's out there for Manny? Manny can take on the winner of Porter Spence only if it's Sean Porter. Because if it's Errol Spence, here's what I am going to assume, and I know what they say about assuming, and you shouldn't do it, but I'm going to assume anyways. Manny's next loss will be his last fight. I think Manny is going to ride this train, this last brouhaha, this last go-around, until he's defeated. Errol Spence would defeat him very fast. Now, September 28th, is that Spence-Porter fight? I like Errol. How can you not like Errol over... I like Sean Porter. I like the fact that his dad's his coach. They're tight. Sean Porter doesn't talk a cheap game. But Errol Spence is just so much better. He really is. Errol Spence is better in every aspect of boxing than Sean Porter. So then if that's the case, and I just said he should not take on Errol Spence, what's left for him? Well, Keith Thurman said he would love a rematch. Keith Thurman's not getting a rematch with Manny Pacquiao. That's not happening. There's talk, there's chirping, Floyd Manny 2. Floyd Manny 2. That's not going to happen either. Because, as we know, and yes, money will get him out, Floyd's not coming back this time. Floyd truly is done. And he's not going to come back to someone this red hot either. He'll run around the ring with Conor, Khabib, pick and choose somebody, maybe tension again. That he'll do. He's not getting into the ring with someone that can hurt him and take away his O. But But there is one other fight out there for Manny Pacquiao, and nobody's talking about, and it's the fight that I like. Mikey Garcia. I really, really think Mikey Garcia and Pacquiao would be a good mix. Plus, should Mikey win and beat Manny Pacquiao and become WBA welterweight champion, that's another name in the hat to as they start to unify the welterweight division. Because in boxing right now, there's two red hot divisions, heavyweight and welterweight, and they are the cream de la cream. Okay, he does, Gabe. He does have something, and like I said, he will ride it until he loses, and then I think that's when he walks away for good. Now, what's left for Keith? A rematch against Danny Garcia? I like that to happen more than a rematch against Pacquiao will ever happen. I think, even with the long layoff, I think Keith Thurman can handle a Danny Garcia, much as I think Manny can handle a Mikey Garcia. But look, 8 division champion. He is cementing, if not cemented, his feet as the GOAT. How can you not say Pacquiao's the GOAT? He's found this fountain of youth. And look, my favorite of all time is George Foreman. And we know what George has done in his past. Manny's equaling it. Manny is so red hot right now. Like I said, I think the only 2 people on this planet that can beat Manny Pacquiao are the 2 top dogs in the welterweight division right now. TC Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Now, someone else's continued. Teofimo Lopez winning by unanimous decision over Masayoshi Nakatani. Now, here's the thing with Teofimo Lopez in this fight. A whole bunch of questions got answered. A whole bunch. Yes, get Alan to watch the show. Okay. Tell him to watch the show. And tell him to share the show too, Gabe. Okay? Call him up. I know you got his number. Call him. Tell him. And get him to watch and share the show. So anyways, the questions that got answered about Teofimo is, can he go the distance? Because all those other fights ended reasonably quick. Yes, he can go the distance. That question's answered. Another question. Can he be frustrated by a taller, faster opponent, dig deep, and do what it takes to win? Yes. That question got answered. Does Teofimo Lopez need to make changes? Yes. Yes, he does. Now, much like Sean Porter and a lot of other boxers, Teofimo Lopez's dad is his coach. I would like to see... Manny is everybody's friend, not just in Manila. Manny is arguably one of the nicest people on this planet. Okay. And by the way, share the show, please. Thank you. Now look, Teofimo, I think, is at the point where he needs another ear. he needs another voice, rather, in his head. I think Teofimo needs to separate from his dad. Obviously, when you talk coaches, you know, there in boxing is a small amount. Honestly, I would love to see Teddy Atlas get into the head of Teofimo Lopez. Okay. I would like to see how Teddy Atlas would handle someone like Teofimo. Was he exposed by a bigger, faster fighter? I don't think so, because here's the deal. Everybody else he's going to have to fight, like Richard Comey next for the IBF lightweight title, is shorter, is slower. So Masayoshi is kind of the anomaly in the lightweight division. But I will say this. There was talk of Teofimo and Lomachenko mixing it up. I don't think so. Unless he lights Richard Comey up. Unless he just bull rushes him and just tears right through him like a hot knife through butter. I don't want to see Lomachenko taking on Teofimo. And as a matter of fact, Teofimo said he's only going to be at lightweight for a little bit while longer, because he can't keep making that weight as he gets older. So I think that might be one of those fights where we look back and we say, what if it's a fight that we missed? What could have happened? Like I said, I would like to see him make some changes. Dylan White had a huge, in my Donald Trump voice, huge win over Oscar Rivas, which it's the heavyweight division second tier is starting to take shape now. The two of them went at it like rock'em sock'em robots for most of the fight. Dylan, with a unanimous decision win, picks up the WBC heavyweight championship. He should be next for Deontay Wilder. The only problem is Deontay has a Conor McGregor-esque line forming to fight him. Obviously, Luis Ortiz, too, is next. Then, obviously, we have the Tyson Fury rematch against Deontay Wilder. Deontay and Andy Ruiz talked this past weekend of them going at it. So you have that. So God knows when Dylan White's going to wind up mixing it up with Deontay. But Deontay, if done properly, has a long stretch of fighters. Ortiz, Fury, White, Andy Ruiz, and or AJ. 4 fights, you figure a guy fights once a year, twice a year. It's going to take a nice long time for Deontay to go through everybody. Providing Deontay keeps winning. As we all hope Deontay get. I'll let Deontay beat, Ortiz. I ain't in his corner for Fury. Okay? Sliding along to MMA for a bit. Speaking of likes and dislikes, let's talk some Greg Hardy. Whether you think Greg Hardy should be fighting in the UFC, or fighting at all for that matter, or in a 6x6 jail cell, or working in Mickey D's flipping burgers, that's not my call. That's up to you guys. Personally, I don't think he has the right to be in the UFC. I don't think he has the right to be fighting at all. I think he's entitled to make a living. I think he should be flipping burgers or Mickey D's. That being said, he has run through... I don't want to compare them to jobbers in wrestling, but he has run through people that, with his low level of skill and knowledge, theirs is even lower. Now, just off the top 15, the lower 15, top 10, now they're going to start putting their eyes on Greg Hardy. And those guys are killers. So what does that mean? That means Greg Hardy will eventually, rather soon, rather quickly, get his comeuppance for his domestic violence cases. And for anybody out there that says he was never convicted in a court of law, yes, you are correct. He was never convicted in a court of law. But he was never convicted because his girlfriend never testified. She was scared off from testifying. That's why charges were dropped. First up for him should be somebody who also won this past weekend. His former ATT teammate, Walt Harris. Walt is a solid wrestler. Walt would be able to take Greg Hardy down. And then we see just how good Greg Hardy is on the mat. Now look, Din Thomas is working with him on the mat, so he should be able to handle himself in theory. But Walt Harris is a all-world, all-class wrestler. Now at Champions MMA in Alabama. So you have the possible mixing up of former teammates going at it. You know, it's still too soon to put him in the cage against a Francis Ngannou. Lord knows it's way too soon for a Stipe or an Alistair Overeem. But these guys are going to start testing Greg Hardy better than these jobbers were. Because they can take Hardy down to the mat. They can ground and pound him. They can beat him in stand-up. They can beat him in jiu-jitsu. All that is coming up very, very quickly in the world of Greg Hardy. Something else that popped in my head this past weekend. What has happened? What in the world is going on with James Vick? I opened the show with some guys sometimes just don't have it. James Vick looks like a guy, as far as I'm concerned, that has lost the eye of the tiger. I don't know what in the world has happened to him. I think he Jesus Christ, somebody needs to get to James Vick and get in his head and set him straight, because he is completely lost it. Did I? Yeah, I missed that. Wow. Oops, I missed a break. Okay, so we'll have to do this a little bit late. We're going to now have to... You know what, now I'll stick to the script for the rest of the way out. Breaking news, John Jones has been charged with battery to a cocktail waitress in a strip club that went down in April. Don't tell me no breaks, Greg. Don't tell me no Greg. And Greg, next week, I'm expecting a question from you, and I'm expecting you to enter the 241 raffle this coming week. So I am expecting raffle entrances from you, Mr. LaBouffe. By the way, how's Chael doing? So look, thank you. And do me a favor, click share, because I need lots of shares this week. People have already asked me about John. Now look, it happened, by the way, on April 19th of 2019, this incident. So while I was home doing nothing for my birthday, John Jones was in a strip club on my birthday, inappropriately touching cocktail waitresses. And look, here's the deal. This time, he has a group of people that were with him that actually will verify he didn't do anything wrong. Except one thing. John needs to stop going out. I know you like the booty. I know you like the strip clubs. But John Jones does not need to be... Oh, no problem, Greg. He does not need to be going to strip clubs anymore. So, here's the deal. I didn't get to do this before, so I'm going to do this now. Guys, please, pretty please, click share. Check out CycloneComedy.com because the Cyclone Variety Show is back. Check out Psyche Prods where you can enter a raffle and win a prize, much like the 3 people that entered the raffle this week will be eligible to win. And check out EffectiveAggression.com and keep it right here on Strong Island Television because in a little while it's the return of The Newman Show since last week. When we come back, we're going to start wrapping this shing-ding up.
Hi, I'm Jim Miller.
This is Dan Morigliano.
I'm Derek Winston. I'm Nick the Carney Lentz, and you're locked into the cage with Cyclone.
All right, you know what? Can we do On This Date now?
Let's do it.
Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and...
Oops. So on this date, we have 4 birthdays. Eddie Gordon, the great Eddie Gordon, turns 36. How in the world is everybody younger than me? There has to be somebody older than me on this planet. God damn it. We have a double birthday. Rory McDonald and Israel Adesanya, both turning 30. And all the way from the other side of the planet, Soren Bach turns 27. Now, you know what? Let's do everybody's favorite part of the show, the raffle. Alrighty, so the 3 people that entered the raffle this week are Kenny Hodgkins, Susan Walker, and Mr. Rudy Asher. I don't know why I did that, Rudy. I don't know. Anyways, question number 1 from Kenny Hodgkins. What do you think the best boxing promotion is right now? What do you think the best boxing? I don't. Do you mean like company? Do you mean? I mean, because the guys at DAZN, you know, they're killing it with everybody they have under contract. So I'd go with that if that's what you're asking. I would think. Question number 2 from Susan Walker. Do you see a way in which Frankie beats Max this weekend? Well, I'm not going to make my picks now, Susan Walker. That's going to happen Thursday night, Friday morning. But do I see a way in which Frankie can beat Max? Look, Max is going to bring the nonstop pressure. Max obviously, as we all know, throws nonstop. Max is relentless. Can Frankie keep up that pace? Maybe. But also, he can, if he shoots, lands a solid double leg, takes him down, ground and pounds him, maybe, rear naked choke. I can see maybe that happening. But like Rocky Balboa said, hey, you got 2 arms and a heartbeat. You got a shot, So yeah, Frankie can win. I mean, it's not like he can't win. And question number 3 comes from Rudy Asher. Do you think John Jones gets suspended after these assault allegations? No. I don't think. Look, first of all, we have to let the law take its place. If he's not convicted in a court of law, I don't know if they could do anything or would do anything. Even though that's the same thing with Greg Hardy situation. But it's a he said, she said, and like I said, apparently there are friends of John's that were there and saw that absolutely nothing happened. I don't know. I don't know if those people's testimony would be believable under cross-examination. If they suspend him, man, I don't know what they would do with that belt. I really don't. It would be borderline disaster situation. Now let's see who wins. The prize this week is going to recipient. Okay, that's the one empty box. We'll try this again. Number 1, Kenny Hodgkins, back on the winning streak. Congratulations, Mr. Hodgkins. One other thing before we truly wrap it up. The California State Athletic Commission, if you guys don't know, is having a meeting today and also tomorrow, I believe, about seriously changing the way they do and handle weight cuts. It would do 3 different weigh-ins. 1, 2 days before the fight, and if you are 9 pounds more than your weight class, you lose 15% of your purse. Then a day before, which is the regular morning official weigh-ins for a fight, if you don't make weight, then you lose another 20% of your purse. And then fight day, morning of, you step on the scale for a 3rd time. And you cannot weigh more than 9 pounds over the weight class. That means if, say you're a bantamweight, you can't rehydrate and come into the cage at like 170. You can't balloon up that much. If you balloon up more than 9 pounds back, you lose another 15% of your purse. So, they'll be taking a lot more of people's purses if that gets agreed to. And frankly, I think that needs to be agreed to. I think a lot more needs to be agreed to. So yeah, I would love to see this weight cutting issues finally be solved and have resolution to the problems of weight cuts, because I'm sick and tired of always having to talk about fighters not making weight. You're a professional. Make weight. Jesus Christ. Alright, that being said, coming up in just a few minutes, The Newman Show. Dennis Newman is in the house. I hear him in the other room. Ladies and gentlemen, until next week, I am Cyclone saying, just because all of you guys are not athletes doesn't mean any of you cannot be athletic supporters. Zai Jean.